My dad has always kind of just shrugged off his problems whenever that's just who he's always been. And he's just, I mean, it goes all the way back to the Navy because there was one day where he was driving his ship through enemy lines and he was actually awarded the Bronze Star. And he just shrugged his shoulders and said, I was just doing my duty and I don't think I deserve the Bronze Star. So, I mean, that's just who my dad has always been, and I think I think my optimism comes from him.
Has there been a time when, if you could talk for just a minute, again, about like your dad's commitment to telling the truth and how that has, how you have taken that on, and that's like obviously really important to you and the work you're doing with Friends of Quinn, right? Telling the truth about people with young people with LDs, so like kind of the triumphs and pitfalls of like truth telling and kind of how you got that from your dad.
Sure. Well, I think just telling the truth is just always been who I have been, and I think when you're the son of journalists and a newspaper editor, I mean, the truth is pretty important to both of them, and especially a newspaper editor, because a newspaper editor has to print the truth and make sure it's the truth, and he can't just rely on one or two sources. It has to be at least three. And so, I think my dad kind of handed that down to me.
And can you tell me about like how that has affected your commitment to like developing and founding Friends of Quinn?
Well, I mean, I think with Friends of Quinn, you really have to be, and especially with any other social networking site, but I think particularly with Friends of Quinn, you have to be honest about yourself. I mean, you don't want to go on there and say, oh, well, I'm just a friend. Even though you have, learning differences. I can understand why you would want to do that, but the more honest you are on the Friends of Quinn site, the better, because it just really lets people know who you are. And like I said before, if you lie, you're hurting other members on that site and letting them to believe that you're something that you're not.
And was there ever, is there a particular instance you can think of where, your truth-telling has either, like, got you in trouble or kind of a funny situation, or is there a time where it's just, like, really served you and you're really glad that you are your father's son?
There have been times where I used to tell friends what friends said about other friends, because I thought I was just being the good, loyal, noble friend. And then it didn't work out. And I did that for about, all through high school. And really until I met Perry, and I just stopped doing that.
Right. So you weren't a very reliable source
Yeah.
in terms of keeping secrets.
Editorially speaking.